there's something, this is something that you guys have to give. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we're synced. I don't know how synced up we are, but this would have to be. It's really part. We mentioned the. We did. It's important. We don't know if you've seen the channel, someone's learning from that channel. I don't know. We don't know who sees what. There's something that was good that we made the video before about the what happened to the people in this, like one of our sort of Hoover towns that are all over our country, and want to make people aware of what might be happening where they are. But there's something. There's a lot. There's a lot of people putting out videos about such things. There's something, if there's something that we should mention, we could have mentioned it as part 2 to the. Look at this thing. It's like a part 2. I mean, it could have been in that video. Would have been made it more informative, if only because it's part of. I mean, it's once again saying that it's untouchable. It's not taught in the universities, but it's part of the. It's part of the history. The history of the economy of our country. That's happened only in my lifetime. It was in the history of modern industrial capitalism. There's a development in the lifetimes of people like who are my age, which is incredibly recent. Nothing in the history of industrial capitalism is like it. I didn't mention it, but it dawned on me to mention it because it's not obvious. I actually tried to order a book at one time, like a history of the the United States economy, and I was ready to, of course it's going to be very expensive. That really is a textbook. So I found it. I was like, naturally it's expensive. Wait, it's out of it's out of print, and it's like it had been out of print for a very, very long time, and there's only one of them. A textbook called The History of the United States Economy. Like, it's actually, it's not, you can take economics, you can take a history class at the Liberal University, but no, I looked at textbooks on the history of the American economy. It's not, okay, and it's like, I've been out of print, there's only one of them. Right, that's not really taught in the universities. Political economic history, it's different, you wouldn't take that at Liberal University, it's economic. Anyway, but this, because it actually goes along with our sort of Hoover town video we want to make say what happened to these people that were living in one of our tent cities. But because there's something that's, since economic history isn't like taught anyway in the way it should be, and it isn't actually, and since this is a new phenomenon in modern industrial capitalism, it happened in my lifetime. That is, it happened when I was in high school. Nothing previous. There's a thing that we say, geez, like if that's awful. Someone to see the video and say, well, that's awful. People are living gosh, it's awful what's happening. The economy's that bad. People are living in tent cities. It is worth saying something like this. Here's the interesting part. It's not interesting. It's laugh or cry. I'm gonna check the paper daily. Fine, right? It's in everyone did. The Dow is at record highs. That Dow Jones is at record highs. What does it mean? What does that mean? Does it mean it's like a two-class society? You say, right? Dow Jones is at record highs. Meanwhile, people living in tent cities. What else could be? What wouldn't someone know other than like, oh, I see this very class divide's getting worse. No, it's It's only since the 90s that there's been there'll be that there should be like rising markets and record highs with markets without a corresponding rise in wages and less people who are like indigent and homeless and such. And it was all throughout the modern history of industrial capitalism. The markets, particularly the stock market, going up. Particularly the stock market going up, and up and up, or at a high level, going up always included a corresponding rise in wages and less people living in the street and such. Why would that? Well, because the stock market was related to the real economy, so naturally, I mean that would be why. Also, basically until the 90s. I mean, it's something people should be aware of until the 90s, when when this sort of like one-sided class war started going to, because of, you know, this idea that they figured out at the Chicago School of Economics that, like, you know, would there'd actually been sort of a truce, if you looked at the history of it, they decided to sort of do something different, which is the neoliberal project. This is not, you know, someone says, oh well, you know, geez, I feel so bad about these what's happening. You know, people. I saw a video. There's people living in people are living in a tent city. There, you know, they don't have nowhere to go now. They're being asked to leave. That's terrible. But if you're like in the investor class, someone's in there, a young person particularly, like in the parent, you know, in the investor class, and says, "Ah, geez, that's terrible." It makes you, you know, feel. Also, be aware it's not that it's unprecedented in the history that this would be going on and getting worse while the markets are rising. That's the phenomenon that's new. Why is that? That's something that's part of recent history. It's also not taught in universities, knowing people unfamiliar with the word neoliberalism. That's the kind of phenomenon that's happening. That we have to say something about that. I don't know if was this the right way to say it, computer people, but I know you would want us to add that. I know you would have to, but something tells me this isn't like the way to do it or something. But I mean, it has to be. We should. That's important.